Hello there, my beautiful pumpkins, and welcome back to the pumpkin patch. If you are new here, hello, my name is Kloee Taylor, and I believe on this channel we have the most cozy, autumnal, vibey corner of the internet. So if you like the way that I read, you like my style, be sure to hit that subscribe button and become a member of the pumpkin patch. And today's reading, I am so excited because we are actually going to be looking at what is kind of keeping you from diving more into yourself, if there are any personal blockages, and we're going to be getting some notes of self-care for you and what you can do to start reconnecting back to yourself. So before we get into the reading, I just want to mention, for those of you that are unaware, not only have I opened private readings over on my website, KhloeTaylor.com, where you can book me for personalized readings, but it is also available for birth charts. I got birth charts up there. And I also have my Patreon. If you would like exclusive pick a cards, extra content from me that you can't get anywhere else, weekly energy updates with tarot predictions, definitely check out the Patreon. That is available to you. And if you join, you don't just get like new content, you also gain access to an entire library that it's almost a year old now. Our Patreon will be a year old in May this year. So there is like a year's worth of content that when you join, you get access to all of that content. And then if you continue to stay a patron, you continue to get new content every single week. There are new things that come out on the Patreon. So definitely check it out. I would love to have you there. It's a really great way to support me as a creator to continue to create free videos here. So let's talk a little bit more about this video. So unfortunately, this video is not sponsored by Tatcha, though I wish it was. We are manifesting that sponsor, okay? Tatcha is not sponsoring this video, but Tatcha is just a company that I really like their products when I'm giving myself love and care and tending to my skin, which to me is an act of self-love. So I decided to use significators as Tatcha products today. So we have an eye cream here on pile number 1. Pile number 2 is this oil that has calendula in it and actual gold flakes. It's got like 24 karat gold flakes in it. She's really nice, giving yourself just like your skin just a nice little plump hydration with some skin oil. And then we also have the Christmas edition of the holiday edition of the Kissu lip mask. It's got this cute little red tint to it. I love this stuff. I wear it out. Like, I know it's a lip mask, but I will literally put it on with my makeup and wear it out because it has a nice little tint to it. So, ooh, she cute. But those are the different piles. I'm going to go ahead and be quiet and give you some time with the meditation music to choose one of these piles for yourself. All right, so pile number 1, if you chose the Tatcha Silk Peony Eye Treatment, this could just be a call that maybe you need a little hydration. So I want you to pause this video right now and get yourself a little hydration, because this, like when your eyes, I've noticed this recently with myself too. I've actually gone on a little bit of a break from coffee. I know, how could I? But coffee actually really can dehydrate you, even though it is filled with water as well, because it's made with water. I find for myself, I can tell that it dehydrates me because my eyes will sink in, like my under eyes. And this, putting like a little eye mask on, a little eye treatment, it might just be a sign that your skin is feeling a little bit dehydrated hydrated. So get your hydration. And also, if you're feeling the self-care vibes, maybe consider some kind of a face mask. But we're going to go ahead and place this down over here, and we're going to get right into talking about your cards. So for you, I'm going to do my best to make sure that you can see these really well because they are kind of shiny, if you know what I'm saying. And for you, we first right off the bat have the wildling. So something that might be keeping you from your self-care, from being able to step into your own energy, is you're a little bit afraid of your primal state of being. The primal self is something that I do feel like in human conditioning, we have all really gotten away from. Like, how many of us actually know how to go outside and just start gardening? That is part of being the wildling, getting your feet on the bare earth, getting yourself to be in touch with the natural and wild world, and letting the world, like the natural mother Gaia, like part of the world, not like stepping into like a man-constructed city, right? The wildling to me is getting in touch with the natural and bare earth, and also getting in touch with your natural and bare self. So whatever that looks like, I'm hearing from Spirit, especially because that dehydration note came out. I'm hearing from Spirit that it might be that you are actually needing right now to see who you are without stimulants. Like, I don't know why coffee is coming through so strongly, but if you need coffee to get through your day, that is not you being in touch with your natural self, because your body produces the way that you nourish it, your body will produce the amount of energy that you need in order to carry you through. So if you're having to rely on stimulants to do things like coffee, and I know how hard that can be, like, I'm not a doctor, so please, like, always talk to a healthcare provider if this is something you're concerned about. But I feel like there's something about getting back to a natural way of being. And this is not me demonizing like pharmaceuticals or anything either. I think if you need them, you need them. You will never catch me as like a spiritual channel telling you not to use Western medicine. But this to me is just like things that you actually have control of. Are you able to make things a little bit more naturally supportive for you? Are you able to go without certain things like any kind of toxins that you would put in your body, which coffee is not a toxin, but it can be if it is too much. If there's too much of it. Same with like drugs and alcohol, right? Like a little alcohol, kind of a fun time. A lot of it constantly may be an issue. So I do feel like there's something about getting back in touch with your natural self, but let's go ahead and keep going and we'll see what the bigger picture is. Oh my goodness. You also got the Ask Body card. I knew I was right on the money with what I was saying, because this is all about also paying attention to your body and what it actually needs from you right now. Your body might even be screaming at you with, like, I find for myself that when my body has like an ache or a pain, now again, I'm not talking about like a chronic illness, I'm just like little aches and pains. I find that usually there is a chakra or an energy center for me that is out of balance. And when I start to work with that energy, I am able to actually feel better. I recently had an experience with this myself, with like back pain, and being able to not only use somatic tracking to work with it, but I actually felt like 100% better after a night's sleep, after months of pain and just not really knowing what was going on. Now, again, please consult your doctor. I am not a doctor. I'm just giving some messages that Spirit is reminding me to pass along for some of you. This might not be your message. Because I think truly in the spiritual community, there can be a lot of toxicity around people taking care of their bodies using Western medicine or talking to a doctor. And I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's both. We need spirituality just as much as we need science. So you're never going to catch that on my channel, just so you're aware. But asking your body what it needs right now, when you can get quiet and actually listen to the inner workings of your body, it will answer you. It will tell you what it needs. When you ask it what it's feeling, you can also use this practice. Spirit is telling me to remind you that you can use your body as a pendulum. My husband and I do this all the time. We'll go to a store, and if we're not sure about like purchasing something that we're going to consume, we will literally hold it in our hands, close our eyes, and ask our body, do you want to consume this? and your body will have a natural inclination to fall forward or backwards. For me, my body falls forward when it's an automatic yes. It falls backwards when it is an automatic no. And your body will tell you how it wants to be nourished. That's just like an extra little trick of the trade if you need it. Then we have for you, get curious. So if anything I just said about like body stuff was triggering in any way to you, I do apologize. I'm never here to try to make anybody feel triggered, but this is also a sign that you need to allow yourself to get curious, to just ask yourself through your own vessel what the universe might be trying to show you. What through my words, you being led here right now to hear what I'm saying, what might the universe be trying to show you? And is there something here for you? Is there a message here for you that coincides with your own curiosity? And how can you get curious also about the natural world around you? What signs and synchronicities? Because there may be that you have gotten disconnected from curiosity, which is a very normal human thing, to get disconnected from curiosity, to feel like we know everything, we know our life better than anyone else, which is true to a degree. But if we stop being curious, we stop growing, and all of our beautiful little roots and plants that want to expand beyond us, our own energy waves, they just kind of stop. They just kind of stop and constrict. And honestly, maybe that's the Sagittarius rising in me. I love a curious person. I love curiosity. I will never stop asking questions in this lifetime because I think there's always more to know. Even when somebody tells you a story and you've heard it 100 times, sometimes on that 101st time, you catch something that you didn't hear the first time. So always be curious. And this is actually going to really help you reconnect with yourself, because even if you've heard things 1,000 times, there's new messages that can always be garnered. Then we have for you self-love. So this is all about getting in touch with just that, your self-love. And I love this card in this deck with Threads of Fate, because this card, I love that it's a peacock, because when we think about peacocks, we call things like, especially, I don't know about everywhere in the world, but here in America, we have that phrase. I don't hear it very often, but like peacocking. Peacocks literally, when they like open all of their beautiful feathers and like show off to each other, because they do that. I want to say it's like part of their mating. They will show off their feathers to each other. And for you, this is about giving yourself so much love and filling yourself up so much to a point that you don't necessarily need to show off. Because notice, this peacock isn't like fanning their feathers out. It's being confident in your own beauty that you don't need to show off, because it speaks for itself. So getting so like full of yourself in a good way, not in like, oh, they're so full of themselves, getting so full of your own self-love and your own like curiosity, your own wild passion, getting so like into your own body and how it feels and what it feels like to have a human experience, that you don't need somebody else's validation. You don't need somebody else to like, again, there's nothing wrong with like letting somebody else love you through your own healing process. But when you're filled with that love for yourself, it like self-fulfills. It generates itself. You don't have to look beyond you for it. And I think Spirit is saying with this card that that is a possibility for you. It is for you. It's not for just some confident people out in the world. You have that same peacock within you. And then we have for you the card of the Weaver. Oh, I love this card. This is one of my favorites in the whole deck. So the Weaver card is all about, the deck is called the Threads of Fate. And the Threads of Fate, basically it is believed that the threads weave the tapestry that is our life. And so if the threads of fate weave the tapestry that is our life, we are also the weaver. We are allowed to weave our own threads. And this is really a call to cut things out of your life that do not serve you and continue to weave the threads into your life that fill you up, that make you feel good. So I freaking love this card. It is truly one of my favorites in the deck. I think it's just like a really nice one to receive, So let's get these laid out here real nice like for you. And let's continue on with this reading. So I feel like for your self-care, I feel like you got a lot of very loud cards that talk about your self-care specifically. Like these cards are yelling, honey. They're all like literally gas yourself up, take yourself on, get curious about life, connect with your wildest like primal nature, get in touch with your body, fill yourself up, and don't like be unapologetic about it. You don't need me or anybody else to give you permission to do these things for yourself. You are allowed just because you exist. Now we're going to go ahead and look at a few self-care cards for you as well. So these ones have a front and a back side, and I love these cards. They are some of the greatest messages, I feel. So we have, what if being kind to yourself really could change everything? So I know we see this a lot in social media, maybe even from other tarot card reading videos or ones like mine, where it's like, oh, just say nice things to yourself. Just be kind to yourself. But what if you believe that that really could change your life? And we have kindness. So being kinder to yourself is literally going to change your reality. And Spirit is saying, this is not just made for special people, it's made for you. Then we have, stop trying to please everyone. Everyone is a whole lot of people. Protect your energy. Ooh, we have energy. Oh my gosh, you literally got a card with coffee on it. Are you freaking kidding me? I could not make this shit up if I tried. I really do feel like assessing the things that you put into your vessel is going to be important. Now, please do this with grace. If you are somebody that struggles with like an eating disorder or something, disregard this information. Don't take stock of the things that you put into your body if you don't feel safe right now to do that. But if this is calling to you, especially the thing about stimulants, really assess the way that you're treating your body right now and where your energy is coming from. Spirit is saying that you don't have to look outside of yourself for your own energy, and it is actually fully capable of coming to you from yourself. And on top of that, there are also a lot of responses when it comes to pleasing other people, right? We have things like the fawn response, where maybe that is a learned trauma response, and it's something that we don't need to pick ourselves apart in order to move through it, but it's something that we're allowed to acknowledge. And awareness is literally the first step in the process, to be aware that we are. And if you don't know what fawning is, it's where maybe somebody brings something to us, and or even for example, if somebody brings like anger to you because they're upset about something, instead of asking yourself how you feel about the situation or if you can hold the space, fawning is where you just start trying to do anything to make them feel better, even if it's at like the expense of yourself. Because usually this is a learned behavior because a parent was not safe, and this is how we made ourselves safe. But I'm bringing this to your attention because a lot of times people pleasing, we think we're doing a good thing for people, but we're really going against our own energy. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, shame is going to keep you from actually working through the fawning experience or through the people-pleasing experience. If anything, this is just to bring awareness to you. Your spiritual team wants you to know that they want you to go slowly, and they want you to be gentle with yourself. This is not one of those readings right now where you are being like given tough love. This is not meant to be tough love. This is meant to be ease and gentleness on yourself and to just be made aware of a few things. So that is what is going on there. Then we have, what if the only resolution you made was to love yourself more? Oh my goodness. Especially with we are in the middle of Aries season, right? Aries season is the baby of the zodiac. These are timeless readings, but if you're watching this when it's coming out, especially as like the baby of the zodiac, when we're starting this zodiac new year, creating resolutions for yourself right now is very appropriate. And what if the only resolution you made was to love yourself more and to cut off with this Weaver card down here, which we'll go back to the table in a minute. With this Weaver card, cut off anything that isn't in service of your own self-love, because you're allowed to do that. And this has number 1, intention. So literally making yourself number 1 in your life is something that Spirit is encouraging you to do. Then we have for you, being a thoughtful steward for the money you already have is the secret to creating more abundance. When you trust yourself to handle more, that's when more shows up with abundance on the back. Okay, I need to teach y'all something right now because this is coming up for you, and I need y'all to just, if you're struggling with abundance, with bringing money into your life, with trusting that you can make money, this is what I need you to do right now. I need you to, either after this reading, or you can do it now, you can pause the video and do it now. I want you to place your hands over your heart, and I want you to start with yourself from, I usually start with 1,000, start with 100, start with $50, start with $10. If that's where you are, meet yourself where you are. And I want you to say to yourself, I'm going to go with thousands because that's where I am. I can make $1,000 a month. See how it feels in your body. If you have resistance to that number, that's where you're at, and that's where you have an energetic blockage to money. And you need to get to a place where you believe that you are worth that. And you continue to scale this number up. So maybe 1,000 didn't feel heavy to you, and you feel like that is fully possible. Maybe you're already making over $1,000 a month. And so that's not your limit. You literally need to sit and just like, okay, I can effortlessly make $2,000 a month, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Ooh, there's Chloe's blockage. Kloee does not believe that she can make more than $50,000 in a month. And so like everybody has that upper limit of money and what they believe that they can actually contain and hold. And Baby J here on YouTube has a fantastic video that she just put out about this. I will link her channel down below for y'all to check that out later. She's great. She literally just covered this in a more extensive video, but figuring out what your upper limit of abundance is and starting where you are. Again, this is not meant to put shame on you. This is meant to make you aware so that you can progress from this place. And with abundance, there is definitely something that is hindering your ability to believe that you are worthy of more. Something I always say to myself, and this might be helpful for some of you, I don't know. Some people, when they think about money, they just want to be comfortable, right? You want your house, you want food on the table, you want your bills paid. I respect that. I think there's nothing wrong with wanting to be comfortable. However, I constantly remind myself and my spiritual team, I'm not here to be comfortable. I'm here to be rich. I'm not here to be comfortable. I'm here to be rich. And that is because I don't see being rich as a bad thing. I don't want to be the Jeff Bezos of the world. And that is the truth. The day that I become a millionaire, I will immediately, the day that I become a billionaire, I will not be a billionaire that same day because I will be donating money because I just personally don't think anybody needs to be a billionaire. But I think about all the good things I can do with that. I think about money coming through me just as an energy. I could pay off all of my family's debt. I could buy them homes. I could start a project in my area for homeless, like housing for the homeless. I could fund a community of tiny homes. There are so many endless possibilities of how you having money will literally help the world. So if you're getting stuck there, I'm just giving you a few tips that I give to myself when I start to energetically get stuck with money. It will literally change your life if you're willing to get into that mentality of where is my blockage and how can we move past it. And I also recommend reading You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. Her first book, You Are a Badass, is even better, but if you're struggling with abundance, that's a good place to start. Spirit also wants you to know that you are literally a magnet for abundance. It is coming to you. And then we also have for you, these are just like a few activities of self-care for you right now that are going to help you recenter and come back to yourself. So we have flow like water with number 24. So if you have a bathtub, a beach, a lake, a river, anything that you can connect to right now in a body of water that is going to allow you to be weightless in water. That's what I'm hearing from Spirit, is this is going to be an activity that will really help you. A pool, a hot tub, anything like that. Just getting into water, even a shower would be helpful. But if there's anywhere you can go to swim, or even if you don't swim, like maybe that's something you just don't do or you don't know how, no shame in that. Getting into maybe just like sitting on the shoreline, or like I said, getting into a bath would be helpful. Then we have for you read with number 42. So that book I just recommended to you, that might actually be a really good idea. Reading that You Are a Badass at Making Money. Oh my gosh, there's like a little plumb bob right here. Any of y'all that play Sims, that might be a confirmation to you. But read, study yourself, get into reading self-help if that is something that is calling out to you. And if you're tired of reading self-help, or you're tired of like people telling you to do that, ask yourself why the universe keeps bringing it up for you. Why does the universe keep bringing that into your reality? Why do you keep creating it? Why is it co-creating in front of you? Probably because there is something there for you to unpack and understand. And then we have create art. Oh, I love this card for self-care. So, I also want to say, sorry, with reading, this isn't just self-help reading. This could also be just getting into like fantasy, getting into something that just makes you feel good as like a pleasure for yourself. Then we have for you create art. And I love this. I believe everybody is inherently creative. You don't have to be good at making art in order to create it. And art can just be a good thing that really lets your senses out, lets you experience life in new ways. I really love sitting with a blank canvas and asking myself what I feel like and how I can paint those feelings. So I feel like for you, getting into some kind of artistic practice right now is going to help you release blockages as well. So great. We love to see it. Then we have for you a couple of cards of mindfulness. Now, one of y'all actually gifted me this deck from my wish list, so thank you so much. Same with these self-care cards, which are easily one of my new favorites. So thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it. My wish list is always down below if you'd like to see it. No pressure, of course. But for you, we have a couple of mindfulness cards. So we're going to look at those now. We have sexual affirmation. I celebrate my sexuality. I choose when and how to express this side of myself as a living and vibrant expression of the divine feminine force. So it doesn't have to be feminine. This can be masculine. This can be... When we talk about divine feminine and divine masculine, it is not about your sexual preference or your sexuality. It is also not just about it's not about gender at all. So know that however you identify, you still possess divine feminine energy and divine masculine energy. And celebrating your own body, your own sexuality, whatever it looks like, that is going to be a very powerful thing for you to have that, to express that, and obviously do it safely. Never feel like you have to express yourself to others if it doesn't feel like it's a safe environment to contain that. But giving yourself little nudges, maybe even in your art, letting yourself express that. Then we have for you a warrior goddess archetype affirmation. I am able to hold strong to my own intuition in the face of many confusing and varied voices around me. I know who I am and who I believe in and stand for. So I think this is a really awesome card because even for myself lately, y'all, I have been hitting this limiting belief that I have to dim to fit in, be it online, be it in friendship circles. And I am actually slowly learning that that is something I never have to do. And what somebody says about me or to me has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them and where they are at. And for you, this is the same. If somebody doesn't agree with who you are or how you are, now don't get me wrong, we don't want to be forcing people into things. We don't need to be hurting other people. But if you're not hurting anybody, just be yourself. And your choice to have a certain gender identity or sexuality, that is never anybody else's business. And you can be exactly who you are. That is not hurting anybody. And anybody that tells you that it is full of crap. I'm just going to say it like it is. You are safe to be who you are. and not have shame in that. I don't know why that's coming up so strongly either. Maybe there's something going on with like family in that regard for you lately. And then the last card I have for you, I actually want to read this one from the book because I'm not proficient in these cards yet, but they're such great cards and I feel like they have such beautiful messages. We're going to be reading from the Empyrean deck by Threads of Fate, which I don't know if y'all saw on my Instagram, but Threads of Fate just sent me the most gorgeous care package. They're so freaking sweet. I love, love, love their work. So I will absolutely be linking their website down below for you. But these cards, which are so cool, I think I've shown them before, they change. So this one says haze. I don't know if you can see that super well, but in person, they look even cooler. But yeah, they change. They have like a holographic vibe to them. So they just look really, really, really rad. Let me actually refocus the camera. That would probably help. There we go. So yeah, this one says haze, but this card from the book is what we're going to be looking at or what we're going to be reading. And let me just make sure I get the page here for you all correct. So it says, like being backed into a corner, being chewed at and feeling like you have nowhere to go, the haze can be all encompassing. It's waking up feeling mangled and frayed open, but not knowing how it happened or how to put a stop to it. The darkness can feel overwhelming and confusing, leaving us blind, grasping for straws. The danger of this space is that our mind can dig the hole deeper and deeper without us realizing. The pathways in our brain get stronger and stronger the more we walk them. When we are continually searching, trying to figure it out or get out of that path, that path becomes the default. Powerlessness becomes our primary state of being, and soon we are a race car looping around the same track, careening out of control despite trying to get better. The key is in slowing down, letting the alarms ring out in your head, but not rushing to them. Before we can move forward, we have to meet ourselves where we are. We must accept it and let ourselves hit that bottom we are trying to avoid, because the haze will bring you to your knees over and over, begging for relief until we stop fighting. We will not find it. But when we lay down our swords, when we quiet the desperation in our gut, we can build our staircase. Ironically, it is when we say enough that our fight truly begins. We can then climb step by step, thought by thought, until our heads are peeking out above the haze. So I think that's why for you, I kept coming back to this notion of like, I'm not here to put shame in you. And anything that has come through in this reading, if you're feeling shame about where you currently are, that's not what this reading is for. This reading is to remind you to slow down, to take stock of where you are in life right now, to let yourself breathe life back into yourself and to connect to your senses in doing it in a steady and slow pace, whatever that looks like for you. Letting yourself find rest within yourself, but also knowing that there are still good things coming for you and that you are safe and you are valid and you are worthy of being tended to by yourself. And that is what I have for you, pile number one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Don't forget to check out the Patreon, which is linked down below, where you can book readings as well on my website. Don't forget to check that out, KhloeTaylor.com. I also have my podcast available every Tuesday, Divine Authenticity, available everywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you would like to do so, I do not expect it, but I always appreciate it. I have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below for you. I do accept tips for my readings, but of course I do not expect them. I also have my wish list down there, my Instagram, my TikTok. Y'all know the drill. So don't hesitate to head down to my nethers, if you will, the description box down below. Oh my gosh, somebody once referred to it as their nether region, and I thought that was hilarious. We don't need to start making it a thing, but I don't know why I just thought about that. But there are so many links down there for y'all if you want to check them out. If you want to connect with me more, I would love to have you, and I will talk to you in the next one. Take care of yourselves, pumpkin. Bye. All right, pile number two. If you chose the gold, it's the Tatcha Gold, is that Camilla Beauty Oil? I think I said calendula in the beginning, but it's Camilla Beauty Oil. It's got the gold flakies in it, and it's just a nice little hydration for your body, for your face. It probably has calendula in it. I say that because it has a similar smell to this like witchy oil that I have that has calendula flowers in it. And it's a good time. It's nice for your face, nice little hydrate. So if you chose this is going to be your reading. So first and foremost, we're going to look at some areas where you might be blocking your self-care or what maybe you could do to kind of reconnect with yourself. So first and foremost, we have the card of play. And what this says to me is Spirit is ultimately telling you that you are not playing enough in life right now. You are not allowing yourself to have time for childlike play, which is really important just for human development on its own. And I actually, there's this saying, and one of my best friends told me about this, where basically people will often put rest and play in the same category. Like it'll be like, oh yeah, like I work and then there's like rest time, right? But like rest and play often get grouped together. And no, there's actually like studies done nowadays where you need all of it. You need time for just resting, just playing, and then time for working if you should so choose. And this is really a call to get curious about what makes you feel like you get to play. Something I talk about a lot on this channel is that I really love Lego sets. Honestly, I'm going to add some of those to my wish list. Why haven't y'all told me to do that? Because I shop from my wish list for myself as well. I'm going to start putting Lego sets on there. That would be a really fun stream, actually. I'm sorry. I'll write that down and come back to that one later. But Spirit is saying that you need to get in touch with that inner child and what you like to do to play. As I was saying, I really enjoy Lego sets. That's like a way that I let my inner child come out and just play. I also enjoy painting is a good one. Anything that lets you feel like you're playing and you're not just sitting in like self-criticism. Because sometimes I feel like that's another thing is you might be somebody that picks up a lot of hobbies with the intention of doing them, but you end up making it this thing that you turn into a perfectionist about. And Spirit is saying you need to reconnect with playing just for the act of having fun. Then we have for you the Magi card, and this is all about literally getting back in touch with your ability to manifest, to be the magic bringer of your own life. This to me is like really the vibe of like the magician in Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, where you have all the powers of the universe to co-create any life that you desire, but you're not in, and it's not that you don't want things for yourself, but you don't allow yourself to dream as big as you possibly could. And Spirit is saying you need to get back in touch with what you really desire for this life. And don't forget to not just like material things, but also mental wellness. Maybe if you are somebody that has a hard time even dreaming big, part of your manifestation could be allowing your mind to expand to hold those dreams. You can definitely manifest like mental well-being as well. We also have for you the card of power. And I find that this can be a little bit of a tricky card to receive just based on what we're talking about, because this is all about reigniting your own personal power and lighting your own torch again. Now, if you're listening to this reading as it's going live, which is during Aries season in tropical astrology, we're all getting a healthy dose of this right now. We also will have Jupiter moving into the sign of Aries, I want to say come May. So in May this year, we're all going to feel this really nice, beautiful, like amped up energy of personal power just blessing us, which it's going to be a good time. I honestly just got the chills when I was talking about it, but having your own personal power and recognizing it. So this to me is like, in terms of your own self-care, what might be stopping you from connecting is maybe you feel like you have a lot of quote unquote problems in your life. And instead of actually asking yourself what you could do to start to relieve those from your life, even if it's changing daily habits or something that is in your control. You're focused more on the things that are out of your control. And Spirit is saying to start empowering yourself. Something to do is to start focusing on the things that you can control. Even if it's somebody in your home that constantly puts you down and you don't have an option for living somewhere else, how can you change the way that you react to this person so they steal less of your essence from you? That's something that Spirit is saying specifically for some of you. For others of you, this is just getting in touch with remembering how powerful you actually are. So this might take some serious deep shadow work, but it's keeping you from experiencing joy and relaxation. So it's something to pay attention to. Then we have for you the Alchemist. Oh, this is a great card. I love this card. The Alchemist is really all about churning and transmuting energy into whatever you desire. So this could be turning negatives into positives. And I actually just had a conversation about this. So it's so crazy that it's coming up in your reading. But this to me is all about keeping yourself curious. Curiosity to me is something that this entire world needs more of, because so often we are not curious about why people do the things they do, why they have acted the way that they did, why we experience synchronicity the way that we do. We just kind of chalk it up to that's just how that person is, or that's just the way the world is, instead of questioning why and actually taking things deeper. Even when we I feel like for some reason, Spirit is bringing your reading really to a person-to-person level. Like maybe you feel really disempowered by people in your life, but obviously it doesn't ever excuse behavior. And as somebody, let me be human with you for a moment, as somebody that has endured a lot of abuse in my own childhood, I understand. I understand not needing to put a pretty bow on some traumatic experiences that you've had. I would never tell you to do that or to forgive an abuser. However, being the alchemist is being able to take that energy and no longer making it the narrative that writes your story. It can be a narrative that's part of your story, but you get to decide what you're going to do with that information and how you are going to transmute your story into your own personal power, because everybody has that ability. It's not just made for special people, and it can take a lot of deep work. I'm honestly getting a lot of shadow work for you, pal number two. Sorry. I think I said one because I actually took a break from this reading for a couple of days and I came back to your pile. So apologies, your pile number two. And then lastly, we have ascension. And this is the word that I heard was truly cutting ties so that you can fly. So if there is anyone in your life right now that you really feel like you need to just truly cut ties with, this is a sign that it's time to do it, because I want you to pay attention to the threads on these wings, okay? There are threads that are this is literally your spiritual team lifting you out of shitty situations. And there are threads that have been cut here because you are no longer on the ground. You are ascending to a new way of being, but you have to be willing to sacrifice the life that you've had and let go of the old story that you've been telling yourself, because that is what it's going to cost you to move into what you would like to receive. And some of you maybe have already been doing this. Maybe you recently did a life audit. That's something that I'm going to be doing in the next weekend or so now that I'm feeling able to do it. But I've seen a lot of productivity content going around lately. I think it's because it's Aries season and all of us actually feel good about setting some new goals, but it's going to cost you your old life. It's going to cost you connections that maybe you thought were always going to be there, but they're actually hindering your progress as a person. And in order for you to ascend into this playful, beautiful, amazing magician, empowered and transmuting your own story into something new, you're going to have to cut ties with your old life. And I don't think I want to clarify that for a moment. I don't think that means no person from your past life or from the past of your this life, not a past life. I don't think that means that you won't get to keep anybody, but I feel like if there's anybody that's really hindering your progress, this is the time to really cut back on that. Cut back on those interactions, keep more energy for yourself, and don't be afraid of change. Because I think that's also, especially if you're a Taurus or any fixed sign, this is going to be Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo. Listen, I am a Taurus sun. I understand. Us fixed signs, we do not like change, especially a fixed sign. We don't like change. It's a lot harder for us, but you have to be willing to change in order to reconnect with yourself if you feel like this has been missing for you. So the next few cards I have are basically just some reminders for you in terms of self-care. So these have like a front and a back. So we'll look at both sides of these cards. So we have a closed door is an invitation from life to move in an even better direction. It's time to change course. So literally, what did I just tell you? We have the change course card. So this is just a reminder that literally what I was saying to you is this is going to cost you your old life, and you have to be ready to let yourself change. Then we have for you, stop trying to control life. It gets in the way of divine intervention. So the more you try to control every outcome in your life right now, the harder and harder these changes are going to be. It's going to be so much easier if you allow divine in to take over. So there is nothing, in my opinion, more beautiful than the moment when you decide you are no longer going to stress about areas of your life that you have no control over. Like something that even some of the things you do feel like you have control over. Like this is such a weird example, and we're going to get a little personal for a second, but there was a time period this year where I literally just like sat at my altar and I was like, listen, I am tired of fighting my own body. I'm tired of the stigma of being a like plus size or fat girl. And either you need to show me the way to stop being a fat girl or to have body acceptance. It needs to be one or the other. I'm not going to sit here and hate myself anymore. And you know what? I love myself. I love my body. I wear bikinis now, which is something I never thought I would do. And I just accept that my body is where it is, and it's taken me a long time to get to that place of body acceptance. But I really believe that the divine intervened into my life, into my mind, and has allowed me to consider myself different. And I just don't feel the way that I used to about myself. Even in just like a few short months, I have completely come around to a new way of being. Like I said, that's a very personal example, but it's stuff like that. Like sometimes if we cannot change something in our life, we need to ask the divine to either change it for us, show us the way, or help us to think a new way. For me, I feel like I ended up just thinking a new way, and I have so much more love and acceptance for the vessel that I'm in. And so I'm not trying to pressure myself to change anymore. And I'm just trying my best to take care of my body and live my life, you know? So I feel like stop trying to control life. Again, I know that was like kind of maybe a strange example, and I'm never trying to trigger anybody that like deals with body dysmorphia or eating disorders. Like I've been there. I've struggled on both ends of that coin. I just felt really called to share that personal experience because it's changed my whole life. But that card also, I don't think I showed you the other side, is surrender. So just surrendering to the divine. I love how this card is also an angel. It's really cool. So we also have for you, evolution starts when you leave your comfort zone. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Oh, I'm so sorry if you're a fixed sign and you have like any of those 4 signs that I mentioned in your sun, moon, and rising. I am so sorry. We hate this. If you're not, I think you're going to have an easier time with change and you might embrace it more. But my goodness. And this says growth. So allowing yourself to grow in new and interesting ways. I think this is going to be a really beautiful time period for you, pile number 2, if you allow it to be. Then we have for you, the calmer you are, the more time slows down and the easier it is to get everything done. Oh my gosh. With breathe. So allowing your life to come into beautiful balance, into beautiful flow, and realizing that you're not going to build Rome in a day. Whatever you're working on right now and you feel like you have to do everything overnight, you don't. Slow down, allow things to come in as they will. Be gentle with yourself. Take time with yourself. Allow yourself the time to breathe, okay? All right. Divine is speaking today. All right. So I'm just going to fix these for you so you can get a nice little view of them before we move on to some more cards that I have for you. All right, so these next couple of cards are more self-care cards. I used a ton of self-care decks for this reading, but I have a few more cards of self-care for you. These are just some ideas of what you can do right now to really amp up your own self-care and reconnect with yourself. You might like some of them, you might like one of them, you might like all of them. These are just some things that the divine was like, hey, here are some suggestions of where to get started. So we have, and of course I will link all of these decks down below, but we have for you starting out right here, we have Sync with the Moon. So I like this too because this card over here, this one, it also like right here, I don't know if you remember the imagery, but it has the moons right here, all the phases. And now we're being told to sync with the moon. So something I always encourage, if you're interested in moon magic at all, definitely read Moonology by Yasmin Boland. It is a book that has been tried and true for me. It was not my introductory to astrology. I'd actually learned a lot of astrology before reading that book, but it was a book that made me want to practice more with astrology. And it really helped me to attune myself to the natural cycles of the moon and honestly start to manifest my best life. Like when you actually get clear on this, it can be one of the most helpful tools in your toolbox. So even just going out and like saying hi to the moon, you know, tell your secrets to the moon. She listens. Then we have Be Still. So this might be hard for some of y'all, and I always like to point it out when it comes up because I think sometimes being still, this can be about like meditation. And I know some people give me grief about this in my comments, but I'm not going to stop preaching it. As somebody that deals with like insane monkey mind, and it's very hard for me to sit still because it can put me back into a trauma response sometimes because of the life that I've experienced. I always want to be gentle to those souls that like you literally just cannot meditate for the life of you. And sitting still actually is a nightmare, and it forces you to feel things that maybe are really difficult to move through for you. You do not have to meditate just by like laying down and sitting there. You can do this in so many different ways. I always encourage some kind of activity that gets you into a flow state. I really love dot puzzles for this, or they're like crystal dot puzzles. I'll link some down below if you're interested in that. You can get them pretty cheap on Amazon. There's also like just doing puzzles, doing painting, anything that is just like a gentle thing that you can allow yourself to do in flow without having to think too much about it. So like Lego sets can be good, but if you're thinking too heavily about it, I feel like those can be almost a little bit too much. It just depends on the kind of mood you're in, but being still, I feel like if it revolves around meditation for you, it doesn't have to be the way that meditation is constantly taught. I think that we're actually on the cutting edge right now of really breaking the spiritual and psychological molds and stepping outside of these boxes that I feel like a lot of us have put ourselves into. So don't feel like you have to be completely still in order to meditate. You don't. You can just get yourself into a flow state by doing gentle practices. But if you're able to be still with yourself, this is something that your body is craving. And lastly, from this deck anyways, we have more cards still. We have movement. So I love that you got Be Still and movement, because this to me is all about finding your happy medium. Deciding what kind of movement is good for you, whether that's yoga, walking, biking, swimming is my current favorite. Love swimming if you have access to a pool. Anything that gets you to move your body. And it doesn't have to be like going to the gym and like doing all these gains and stuff. It can literally be just gently swaying your body back and forth. It can be moving your hands, moving your arms. You don't need to do movement, and it doesn't have to be exercise. It can literally just be moving your body in some motion. Your body wants to be moved. The energy wants to be moved through it. So finding movement that works for you, whatever that looks like. And then the next few cards we have are, these ones are like mindfulness cards. It's a new deck to me. One of y'all actually got this one for me. So thank you so much to those of you that purchased from my wish list. You're so freaking kind. I really appreciate it so, so, so much. But these next couple cards, it looks like yours are both about the chakra system. So let's take a look at these. So this first one just says, fourth chakra energy center affirmation. My heart is open and I give and receive love freely. So your heart chakra, it needs to open up a little bit, babe. One of the best ways to do this, in my opinion, is to just listen to heart chakra music. Put heart chakra music on in the background when you're doing things. That's something that really helps me. But if that's not your vibe, you can also like rub your hand. Like, let me show you. This is, let me show you an example. So you can rub your hands together like this, like just like a lot. Like do this for like 30 to 60 seconds. And until you feel like the friction between your hands, basically. And then you're going to take these hands and place them over your heart. And this basically sends the energy that you just created to your heart. You can do this anywhere on your body, like anywhere that you feel like your body needs more energy or more love or more attention. This is also a good way to teach kids about energy work. If that's something that like you're interested in, teaching children about energy work, that's a way that they can gravitate or latch onto it in a really easy way that like you kind of feel it when you rub your hands together and create friction like that, right? So just something to consider there that might be helpful for you. You can also, I really like this tea company. This is so random. Gem Goddess, I don't know her personally, but she actually got me onto it. It's Buddha teas. And they do an entire chakra set. Again, I'll try to link that down below for you if y'all are curious about it, the chakra tea set. But I really like that. When I feel like one of my chakras is acting up, I will go and like drink one of the teas, because they actually make this tea with crystals. Like they will infuse the tea with crystals, and like just like loose leaves. They don't like, because you know some crystals are like porous or they could like be bad, so they just sit it with like loose leaf, and then when you brew it you get all of that beautiful crystal energy as well. So just a couple of things to think about. And then so yeah, heart chakra stuff. Then we also have for you the first chakra energy center affirmation. I find healing in gracious redistribution of the feminine and masculine energies within me. So this is going to be your root chakra. So this to me always deals with like survival trauma, this is not a diagnosis. I am not a mental health professional or like a medical provider of any sort. So please do not use my readings in that way. But I do find that often when your root chakra is off balance, it can be that you've been living in survival mode for a really long time. And so rebalancing these energies can be really helpful. And there's like so many videos online about this. If I talk about this, we will be here all day. But just know that your root chakra is asking for some attention. Those same things that I talked about for your heart chakra, you can use them on your root chakra as well. And that is what we have there. So the last card I have for you, we are going to be reading from the book that comes with the cards, because I don't know all the cards yet. This one actually comes from Threads of Fate, and I'm putting it down here. Actually, I could probably bring it closer and we'll see if we can get it to focus for us. Well, these cards are harder to focus on because they're holographic. Like, see how they change? Yeah, it's better down here. So these cards, yours says ebb, but it's kind of hard to see it because like even in person, this one's kind of hard to see. It's not just the camera. This one's, there it is. Kind of see how it says ebb. So this card, this is from Threads of Fate. This is one of like the coolest decks I think I've ever seen because they're holographic and they change, but we're just going to look through the book that came with these cards, and I'm just going to read you this definition for the card because I think that their definitions are just so, they're just like chef's kiss, and this is really what Spirit needs you to hear right now about this topic in particular. So we're just going to go in there and get it. Okay, so ebb. This says, when you feel that gravitational pull, that force tugging at each cell in your body, you had better listen. Sometimes we want nothing more than to stay. We may hear the song in the wind coming for us, telling us it's time to go, and we try to root deeper. We clench our fists, ready to fight the hurricane. We may try banging, hollowing ourselves out, or bargaining, hollowing ourselves out, just so we don't lose what we think we have. But the ebb comes from elsewhere. It's much bigger than we are. It knocks on our door with a demand, and to not let it in only prolongs the standoff, but we will never win. An ebb is like a controlled burn, destroying all the clutter that stands in the way. Make sure we don't get too far on the wrong path, creating the right environment for us to truly flourish. When we feel this ebb, we say thank you. We let it have its way. It is such a powerful display of the divine at work that we must simply stand in awe. Sometimes our life falls away in such a way that we must bend to its will. Other times we love something so much, but we know we must break our own hearts. We don't have to know where the tide is taking you. Let yourself get taken up and spit back out months later, coughing up sand, but with a new lifeline. Wow. This to me is almost like a tower moment of just really, that surrender card is popping, okay? Y'all got surrender in your reading as well, and Spirit is saying that you need to pay attention to your body, to your well-being, to your self-care, and to things that feel off balance for you. Because the more you sit and ignore this, it's going to start to wreak havoc on your life if you do not start to pay attention. And I know we always think that we can outrun this stuff. We can keep hustling, we can keep going, but at some point or another, it will catch up. So this is honestly to me coming as a warning to you that you need to start taking care of yourself and prioritizing yourself, because it will catch up if you don't. And that is what I have for you, pile number 2. I'm sorry that we're ending on such a serious note, but that is what Spirit has for you. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Don't forget to check out my website, where I will be doing a restock today of my readings. So make sure you grab them while you can, because I usually sell out the same day that I post them. So definitely make sure you head over there and check it out. I have birth charts and stuff as well. My Patreon, where you get bonus content, early access to all of my videos, weekly energy updates in tarot form, and so much more. We have bonus content. More of that is actually coming very soon, because I've just hired in a new employee. So we're going to be having even more bonus content coming to Patreon, which I'm very excited about. So definitely join me over there. As I was talking about doing live streams and stuff at the beginning of your reading, that's usually where I do them, is through Patreon. So if you want to be a part of cozy live streams and stuff, that's where we host those, is in a private Patreon event. So definitely come over there and check all of that out. I would love to have you. And don't forget to check out the podcast. New episodes every single Tuesday. It's called Divine Authenticity. It's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. And honestly, everything's down below. If you would like to tip me for my readings, I always appreciate it. It's never expected, but I do have my Cashapp, my Venmo, my PayPal listed. My wish list is also down there if you'd like to take a look at it. Again, none of that is ever expected, but always appreciated. And I'll talk to you all in the next one. I love you so much, pumpkin. All right, pile number 3. If you chose the Tatcha lip mask, this one is for you. Out of all the products here today, this one is probably my most used. In my most recent vlog, I even showcased this one. I don't think you can get this exact one unless it's the holiday time, because it's the holiday edition and they just don't sell it otherwise. I'll see if I can find an Amazon link or something if it's there, but I know on the website I couldn't find it. So, but I will also link the normal edition as well, which is this really pretty pink one. But the red, I think, is a holiday only thing. But in any case, it might just be a way that you want to show some self-care, some tender loving care to yourself by getting a lip mask. I know the Laneige one is also, or Laneige. People really like that one too. I prefer Tatcha. I think it's just the leveled up version of the Laneige, to be quite honest. But I'm going to put that right here for you, and we're going to get into your cards. So the first few cards we're going to be looking at are basically going to be like what might be hindering your self-care at this time. And we're going to talk about it. So first and foremost, we have the Seeker card for you. And this card, to me, this is all about basically when we let... It's like we're moving from one thing to the next thing. Every time we reach a milestone, we're getting immediately into the next goal, into the next thing, and we're not stopping to appreciate everything that we have done. We're not stopping to appreciate every step in the journey that we're currently on. And this is to me one of those cards that like, this can lead you to hate the things that you do. Meaning, let's say like you really have this hobby that you love, but you get so in your head about completing the hobby or like completing a project in the hobby that you totally forget about the journey along the way. And you're just constantly moving the goalpost to the next thing. Like, even if you're like really into reading books and stuff, it's like, or you have a book journal, but your only goal is to finish the book faster and faster. You don't savor the journey of reading the book. Or same with like crocheting, knitting, painting, anything. Like, you don't savor this time. And so Spirit is showing you this card and reminding you that it's okay to celebrate the things that you create. It's okay to stop and sit in the wisdom that you've received and to let yourself have that instead of moving the goalpost again. So we also have for you the card of boundaries. Ooh, this one is a spicy reading. Pile number 3. I feel like you're getting called out. The boundaries card always pops up when we are needing to do just that. Have better boundaries. And Spirit is saying this isn't just boundaries with people in your life. This is boundaries with yourself and with your time. So if there's an area of your life or maybe several areas of your life where you feel like you're just burnt out, worn out, or you feel like every area of your life you're just not really doing a whole lot, like everything you're doing like kind of poorly, this is a key indication that you don't have enough boundaries with yourself and possibly also with the people in your life. So you're doing everything like haphazardly is the word that I'm hearing. You're doing everything like very haphazardly because you don't have appropriate boundaries with yourself or with others or with your daily activities. And this might be a really good time to ask yourself what kind of boundaries you could put in place that would actually honor the person that you are wanting to become right now. Then we have for you versatility. Ooh, I like this card. I like it because I'm pretty sure this is a weed leaf. But I don't personally smoke weed or anything, but I'm not opposed to anybody who does. But versatility, I like that this card is this because honestly, weed is super versatile. Think about how we make like CBD oil. We can also like smoke the plant, right? Or we can use like the hemp from the plant as well to make like rugs and bags and things like that. Extreme versatility. So this is a message from Spirit saying that you actually have so many more options available to you than you even realize right now. And Spirit is also saying that there might even be things in your life that could be used elsewhere. So like, for example, let's say that you know how to design websites, but you really want to work in like spirituality. And you're just like, gosh, I wasted all my time like learning about website design. I should have been like practicing my spiritual skills. Spirit is reminding you that that website skill is still going to be valuable. And you could make a website to talk about your spirituality. And that information, you needed it for every step of your journey. So stop judging yourself for not being farther along. Gosh, even in my own journey, I did gaming for 7 years and it was fun. Don't get me wrong. I think it served its purpose the way that it was meant to. But when I was in that career, I learned so many skills that I use now for my online business, even though it's a completely different realm. And I prefer the realm that I'm in now versus where I was previously. But so much of like the video editing skills, the talking skills, the website building skills, the presentation, the like even the SEO on like the backside of YouTube and understanding how to get seen in the algorithm. These are all things that were tools that I had to study then that have carried into what I do now. So it's like knowing that you have a lot of possibility and the skill sets that you have, they are there for a reason. You have those for a reason and they are not worthless. Then we have for you Reclaim. Ooh, I like this card. I love the Reclaim card because kind of like pile number 2, if you felt drawn to that one, you may want to go back and give it a listen as well. Kind of like pile number 2, we talked a little bit about reclaiming your own personal power. And this is about reclaiming yourself and reclaiming your own space. So as I was talking about with you, those different areas of life that maybe you feel like you're doing everything kind of poorly, this is a card that is here to remind you that you have the ability to reclaim your own energetic space. And you need to set aside some time to do that, to reclaim the space that you're in. Maybe some of you are already in this process right now of reclaiming your own space. So this isn't just like reclaiming your home. This is like reclaiming the way you do work, reclaiming your self-care, reclaiming the way you talk to yourself, reclaiming every single area of your life and giving it a fresh new energy. So Spirit is saying this is a good opportune time to do that. Then we also have the Outlaw, and this card really comes to basically say, no matter what you decide to do with your time right now, with like taking care of yourself, don't be afraid to be disliked, because especially with the boundaries card coming out too, there are going to be people that don't agree with what you are doing or how you're managing yourself or your time. And you need to learn to be okay with that. Because if you are constantly living to please everybody else, the number one person you're going to displease and hurt the most is you. So the Outlaw is here to remind you that it's okay to step out of the societal mold, outside of the bubble that you've been conditioned to live into, and to know that you matter more than anything else. You matter more than your job. You matter more than your relationships. You matter more than your hobbies. Your very essence, your very energy matters more, and your energy is not for everyone. And it is okay if people dislike you. In fact, most often, when people dislike you, it is a sign that you are doing something correctly. Now, obviously, there are some times where we need to like understand that, maybe we do need to make corrections, but we also have a level of awareness that will help us to decide the difference. So it's okay to be disliked. It's okay to go against the grain. Spirit is actually encouraging you at this time to do that, to go against the grain and decide for yourself. Because honestly, it's a power move. Okay, so the next few cards that we have for you are all on the thread of self-care. They've got 2 sides to them, so we're going to read both messages and just see what is coming up for us. So on one side, we've got some text, and then we'll get to like the core image as well. So we have time spent worrying is time spent. Oh my gosh. I told you your reading was spicy. Spirit is calling you out. Spirit says that you are spending way too much worrying about what is going to go wrong, and it's not worth it. You're literally time sinking about all the things that could be going wrong in your life instead of focusing on all the things that could be going correctly. Then we have for you, it is safe to wait. Ooh. And we have patience. So you know what I think is so cool about this? Not only do we have it safe to wait with patience, but we also have time with the hourglass. So, oh my gosh, I literally just heard like sands through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives. Please give me a like and comment some kind of random ass emoji if you watch Days of Our Lives as a kid, because I could tell you stories about that show for days. I used to write fan fiction as a kid. I was a little bit of a nerd. We don't need to talk about that. In any case, back to the reading. It is safe to wait with patience. So this is also about being patient with yourself. It is safe for you, even if you don't feel ready to like take stock of your life, reclaim your energy. It's okay to wait until you feel ready. It's okay to relax and sink into it. Nobody is going to rush you. And if they are, that is maybe the boundary you need to be setting. That is the person that you need to set the boundary with. Then we have, you get what you believe you deserve. It's time to raise your standards. Ooh, self-worth with Elevate. Oh, this card is so cute. I love it. But what this really says to me is, you may think that you are only worthy of like mediocrity or friendships that do not support or understand you, or partners that don't support or understand you. I remember in 2014, I used to tell my friend, my best friend at the time, that I was destined for mediocrity. And I meant it. Like, I thought I was like, and she was like, Kloee, what do you mean? And I was like, I mean, I'm always going to drive this ratty ass car. I'm always going to live in these like crappy apartments. I'm always going to like, I'm just destined for a mediocre life. I'm just supposed to live in mediocrity. It's all I will ever have. And like, I talked about more than just like place of living, occupation, and car. Like I mentioned like job and stuff like that too. But to make a long story short, it was my version of mediocrity for myself. And that's not to shade anybody that like is in that situation. I'm just expressing my authentic story from my perspective at the time. And she was like, Kloee, don't say those things about yourself. But I believed them. And because of that, I think I continued to experience mediocrity for many years. And it wasn't until I started to elevate and decided that I was worthy of more that I was able to make the shifts in my life that were necessary to have that. So for you, you get what you believe you deserve. It's time to raise your standards. It's time to ask for more because you are worthy of more. And this doesn't have to be like, I think Manifestation Babe just put out a great post on this where she was like, you know, it might not be overnight that you just get into your dream home. You might first have to manifest the studio apartment, and then you manifest a 2-bedroom apartment, and then you manifest a condo, and then you manifest a 3-bedroom house, and then you finally manifest the dream house. Sometimes it has to come in stages, and it's okay to expand just outside of your comfort zone instead of trying to go hard, like completely like, yes, I'm going to be in my dream house next year with my like 8 bedrooms and my 10 cars. Like, don't get me wrong. I think that energy can be very amazing if you feel like you can hold that vision and really truly believe it. But some people, like if you've never experienced that, it's hard to get there. And it's okay to take baby steps, but it is time for you to raise the standards of what you think you deserve. And then we have for you, take a chance. Every risk is a success when you are committed to learning and growing, and we have risk. So wherever you feel like something feels scary, don't get me wrong, don't push yourself so hard that you're putting yourself into a state of resistance, because that can be scary too and kind of stop us from progressing in any way. But taking some calculated risk just when you're starting out, it's okay. It's okay. Even if like setting a boundary feels risky to you, it's okay to take a little bit of risk just to see what happens when you put that boundary down there, and to see what happens when you decide to go against the grain in a new direction. You decide to celebrate yourself differently and ask for more and be gentle and slower on yourself. You're actually going to experience so much more growth if you allow yourself to slow the heck down. So the next few cards we're going to get into are some more self-care cards, but these ones are more like suggestions of just things that you can do right now. Like if you wanted to commit to a few things today that would really help you, these are just some suggestions from Spirit that Spirit believes is going to be something that's going to help you to recommit to yourself. So first and foremost, we do have the Connect with Fire card. So if you're able to actually have a bonfire outside safely, absolutely do so. If not, you can do things with just like candle work in the home. Obviously, please be safe. I don't want any messages from your mothers telling me that you burned the house down. Please be safe. But connecting with fire, this can be even just like candle meditating, where you just meditate and stare into a candle flame. That's actually a really good way to get good at candle flame divination, is just to do candle flame meditating and just see what comes up. Just don't hold expectations of anything and just let yourself see what comes up. But just connecting with fire. If you have a fireplace, it might be a good time to actually light that fireplace. If you're able to. Obviously, weather may not permit either, but if you're able to in some way, even just lighting a candle can really do that for you. And then we also have for you, connect with your womb. So this card is interesting to me because obviously not every single person has their own womb. But what I would like to point out with this is everybody has a womb story, because everybody has a birth story. And even if you're somebody that maybe you're adopted and you don't know your birth story, you are still able to connect with that womb-like energy. You can do that by literally just like getting into a bath and putting like your ears under the water, where all you hear is like basically the sound of being underwater. This can imitate that sound of being in the womb. I also find that gosh, I could talk about womb medicine forever, but when it comes to connecting with your womb, it also can be a lot about connecting with your mother. Now, obviously, if your mother was abusive in any way, I would never tell you to go and reconnect with your mother. However, if there is any mother-like figure or a goddess, possibly like a deity or somebody like any kind of mother-like energy that you want to connect with, Spirit is saying to do so. This could also just be Mother Gaia, getting back in touch with Mother Earth as well, and allowing yourself to feel into that energy. I don't have it over here, but I will link it down below for you. I do highly recommend, if you're wanting to connect more with that deeply mother-like energy, no matter how you identify. I don't feel like this is like only for people that really are interested in like feminism. But the Rose Oracle by Rebecca Campbell has been one of the most deeply profound oracle decks that I pull a card a day for myself from that deck, and I will literally weep over those cards because they're just so appropriate and they're the perfect medicine that I need right now in my life. So just that might be like another suggestion that you would like. I will definitely put a link down below for you for them. And then we have Clean Your Space. So this is a very direct one. Listen, I'm just going to be honest with you. We all know what it feels like to go through an anxiety episode, a depression episode, when our spaces just feel overwhelming and we can't get to them. So be gentle with yourself, be patient with yourself, give yourself time. If you're somebody that those things have been stacking up, just start with a corner. Start with one corner of your bedroom and start to intentionally clean that space up, because what that's going to do is it's going to make room for new, fresh energy to come into your life as you clear out the old stagnant energy. Especially during an Aries season, it's going to be extremely helpful. Now, the next few cards that I have for you are just some mindfulness cards. This was actually a deck that one of y'all bought me off my wish list. So thank you so much to whoever purchased that one for me. I don't remember exactly who it was, but I really appreciate it. I want to say it might have been Taker's Love, who's also one of our patrons, and just a wonderful person that's always in the comments. You will always see her comments down below. I want to say it was from her. So thank you so much for gifting this to our channel so that we could use them. But these are just going to be a couple of affirmations for you, and we're just going to see what comes up. So right away, we have this managing frustration affirmation. I am centered in my body. I dissipate frustration by using tools such as breathing, a walk, a glass of water, or chanting a few rounds of a mantra. So if you find that you are really activated or angry or feeling a lot of feelings of anger, first of all, I want to tell you that anger is a completely normal human emotion, and it's okay to be angry. For some people, anger has never felt like they've been allowed to have it, or maybe you let anger overtake your life. It's a normal human emotion, and it is okay to feel it. However, if you're wanting to come back to self, back to the window of tolerance, this can be helpful, allowing yourself deep breaths to walk it off, have a nice cold, refreshing glass of water, or looking up chanting mantras just on YouTube to see if those will give you some help. Spirit is saying that those things could help you out if you're feeling really upset. And then we have a shadow of the victim affirmation. I do not get caught in the shadow of the victim. I am connected to the magnificence of my radiant spirit soul and remain aligned with the highest power ever in the face of adversity. So I'm just going to let that one be a message in and of itself for y'all. That might be one that you want to like write down in your journal and use in the future for yourself. But the last card that I have for you, we're actually going to read from the book that it comes with. And she's a little hard to see on camera because these cards are holographic. So actually, this one shows up really well. Pile number 2, we had a little bit harder of a time. But you got the Ether card. So I will be reading this from the book. This book just comes with the deck. This is from Threads of Fate. This is honestly one of the coolest decks I think I've ever seen in my life. This is not sponsored, but they did send me some decks and I was just so grateful to receive them. This one I actually bought with my own money, but y'all know if you've been on my channel for a while, we've used Threads of Fate decks for, I don't even know how long. I think over a year for sure. But you got this card that is the Ether, and I'm trying to find the book page for it. Here we go. The Ether, it looks like it's on page 41, so that might be a significant number for you. And we're just going to flip to that. Okay. The Ether. And just when you think it's nothing, it's everything. We may never be able to comprehend the idea of universal energy. We play with it like mercury broken free of a thermometer. Just when we think we have it, that it's in the lens we now see through, it dances away from us like a flame, and we are back on the bustling streets shouting at faceless traffic. We are one has become a trope that we've outgrown. It's repeated to calm anxieties, to unify when there's a fracture, to soothe when we feel the heat of anger. It doesn't come close to capturing the true magnitude of all that we are, of how truly connected everything and everyone is. Each of us minuscule threads in a fabric woven together, stretching across time and space. A fabric that can shift and move, swell and contract, but cannot be torn or destroyed. The magic of knowing that we are the Ether is having the ability to transform and expand in any given moment. It's trusting that the same atoms that make up this universe, that stretch on for eternity, that hold so much mystery and alchemy, live within us. We can mirror their rhythm. We can tear down the levees that keep us trapped in this world made of steel and begin believing in the ever-possible infinite. Where ease is attainable, where the difference between love and hate is hair thin, just a decision. We can embody the untamable wild that is the burning stars, the diamonds that rain on Jupiter, the laugh of the bold spirits that echo through galaxies. So, wow. I don't even think I want to add anything to that because that was just such a beautiful, poem send off for y'all. This deck, I have to tell y'all, I'll link it below for you. This deck in particular is one that just gives the exact healing medicine that I always need to hear. So definitely give it a go if it's something that has just sounded interesting at any point that I've used it on my channel, because we've used it a few times. But thank you so much, Pile 3, for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Don't forget to check out the links down below. I have my Patreon. I also have private readings where I will have restocked the day that this goes live on YouTube. So definitely check it out. I usually sell out within the first day. There's also birth charts as well. So definitely give it a look if you would like to purchase one of those before they sell out. And my Patreon, where you get early access to all of my videos, weekly energies, bonus content, and so much more. So definitely head over there, become a member on Patreon. I want to add some more live streams soon to Patreon as well, like just cozy live streams that we can all get together on. In the future, when we do those, we always do them over there. So I would love to have you there. If that's something that sounds interesting to you, definitely check it out. You also get like a back catalog when you join Patreon. We've had the Patreon for almost a year, and you get access to every single thing that has been put up there when you join. So it's not just like you get stuff that's coming out now, you get that too, but you also get the entire library when you join. So definitely check it out. I feel like it is well worth it. And if not, and you want to support me as a creator in another way, I also have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal. If you would like to support me by tipping me, I always appreciate it. I never expect it. I also have my wish list listed down below. And of course, if you would like to give something else a listen, if you like my vibe, I also have my podcast everywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, and so many more places. It is called Divine Authenticity. It's literally just me sitting down every week, just like shouting into the void. So if you enjoy that, definitely check out the podcast. And I love you so much, Pumpkin. Thank you for letting me connect with your energy. I hope this reading touched you, and I hope that it gives you the confidence to know that you really are the authentic co-creator that you came here to be, and you're allowed to reclaim that space. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time, Pumpkin.